The old famous quote from Enzo Ferrari was, he said it was the most beautiful car ever made, and I have to agree with him.
Hi folks, and welcome to Center Lane. I'm Bruce Hitchin. Today we're in South Surrey, BC at the home of David Coe, and we're looking at his gorgeous 1969 Jaguar E-Type. This is a beautiful car. It's been restored, and it's just fantastic. Now I want to remind you, if you like this content, please like and subscribe to my channel. Now let's talk to David.
Well, I've always been interested in cars ever since I was a kid. When I was a kid, matter of fact, we used to make what we called soapbox cars and race them down hills, that kind of thing. And then I don't know where it went from there. I remember my mother bought herself an old car, an Austin Minor, and it had a lot of problems, and I learned to fix it a little bit. And then when I was going to university, I needed a part-time job, so I ended up getting a job at a garage and started doing minor repairs. And meanwhile, took an interest in some old cars that I bought myself and had to fix up. Mainly old British cars, MGTDs, Morrises, MGAs, Triumphs, that kind of thing. So I worked on them. I had bought a couple of upscale cars. I was working full-time here. And my last real sports car that I had was my 1963 Jaguar XKE. And that's the one that I really regretted selling, because unlike the others, it wasn't old and really beat up. It wasn't a new car, but it was in pretty good shape, and it was just an absolute blast to drive. I really do appreciate a performance car. And that car was really, really advanced for its day. It had inboard disc brakes all around, inboard disc brakes on the inside axle at the back for minimizing unsprung weight, 3.8 liter engine, triple carbs on the original Series 1. It was a very impressive car. I bought it, I think it was probably about 69. It was really, really a fun car, and I was living in Ontario at the time and didn't like to drive it in the winter, and I thought it was impractical. So I sold it. That was a kind of a crazy thing to do. When I bought this car, it was interesting. After my wife telling me I should think about buying another one, I told a friend of mine who's really into cars and British cars in particular, I said, you know, I just might buy another Jaguar XKE. If you ever see one that you think's a really good deal and good condition, let me know. And so my wife and I, we were vacationing down in Palm Springs area, and I get this email. Saw what looks like a great car, it's local. Let me know if you want me to do anything. Then I sent an email asking me to go and take a look at it. Well, it turns out he went to the car club, and they got 6 experts. 2 of the experts were people that already owned Jaguar XKEs, and they went out, formed a committee, and went out and looked at the car and totally under it, over it, had it put in the hoist and everything else, and came back with a report. So he actually ended up buying the car sight unseen, which is something I've never done in my life before. But it's turned out all right. And they're still my friends. My first car was a Series 1. The one I have now is called a Series 2. The difference is the Series 1 was a 3.8 liter, but it had 3 2-inch SU carburetors on it. And the Series 2, they had to go to meet U.S. pollution regulations to Stromberg carburetors. Here's 2 Stromberg carburetors, dual overhead camshaft, straight 6-cylinder engine, 4.2 liters. Have an alternator over here, and basically this is the master cylinder and the slave and everything for the brakes and the clutch. Dual fans on the radiator. 4-wheel disc brakes, inboard disc brakes on the back, which means the brake part isn't out with the wheel. It's very important on a car, especially a performance car, to keep unsprung weight, as we call it, to a minimum. So there's not much momentum when the cars are bouncing up, the tires are bouncing up and down when there's a rough surface. So the brakes on the back are right near the differential. Stromberg carburetors have nowhere near the power that the SUs have, but they're better for gas mileage, and they're also less emissions from them. The Series 2 were actually bored out to 4.2 liters, but actually had less horsepower than the Series 1 had. The original Series 1 had the front headlights glassed over to be really streamlined with the rest of the car. They claimed that cut down on the intensity of the light, so they were forced to bring the headlights out, and they couldn't turn the fairing over. I don't think the car looks as good, but it's sort of a minor thing. Other than that, inside, the original Series 1 had all toggle switches in a row. They made them take the toggle switches out because they felt that if somebody impacted against the dashboard, the toggle switch would cause injury. So these are rocker switches, but very minimal changes. But I got a car that I like, and I love the lines of this car. I come and look at it in the garage, and I just love looking at the car. I've always liked the look of this car for its rounded lines and the sleekness of its appearance. The car is very, very technically advanced for its day, so it's not just a very pretty looking car, it was a very high performance car. And this car is called the XKE. The previous model was the car that they built for Le Mans, for the 24-hour race at Le Mans, which won and dominated Le Mans for 3 years in a row. So that's where a lot of the technology came from and was developed. So it was pretty avant-garde for the day. One of the times I remember driving this car was along the highway, and I pulled out to pass someone on the highway. I dropped into third. As I pulled out to pass, I spun the rear wheels. That really impressed me. That really impressed me in a day where 100 horsepower cars were very high and we didn't have the performance that we had around today. But the road holding, the handling, the balance of the car is just great. When these cars were first made, I think they probably compared to the Ferraris of the day, but that one was right up with the supercars of its day. And the balance, the handling, the control you had on it, the fact the suspension was so highly developed. It was just a great driver's car and comfortable inside. Well, I think one of the things about collecting cars in general, and most of the people I know that collect cars back into their early part of their life. And I think this Jaguar does that for me. It takes me back to those years of my life when I was maybe taking a little more risks than I do now, and driving a little more aggressively than I did now, and had the feel of the road a little more, and was a little maybe more carefree. It takes you back to that whole space. It's an interesting thing. It just takes me back to my youth.